Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys had a good day today, and I hope you all had a good trading session. So, first of all, let me apologize in advance if you hear a 2.5-year-old in the background. It's my nephew, and he does not know how to be quiet when I'm recording. So, my apologies in advance for that. This is my first daily update video for this week, and here is why. So, you guys know that I had a really irritable trading session on Tuesday. Like, I was really irritated. You guys know I don't care about showing my losses. This is all part of the process. I do not care. However, I was just so irritated. I was like, you know what? I'll just record it later on tonight, and then I'll update it or upload it in the morning like I did sometime last week. I did that on one of the videos. Well, because I wanted to go back to CQG data, I went ahead and I tried to upgrade the software. So I'm currently using 8.026. This is the last stable version for me. I don't know which one of my indicators causes all of this freezing to happen, but the platform freezes, it crashes, and it gets really irritating. So I tried to upgrade to 8.028 first, was freezing. Then I upgraded to 8.1.7, was still freezing. So at that point, I realized I had to downgrade back and forget CQG data. Well, the problem is when you're upgrading, all of your trade history stays there, but when you downgrade, you have to literally delete your entire documents folder, the Ninja Trader folder, out of your documents folder, because if you try to reinstall an older version, it's going to tell you you have a new version in your database and it's not going to let you do it. So all of the trade history was gone. So there was no way for me to even record the video to update it or upload it the next morning. So then come to that, and because I use a couple of Ninja Co indicators, I forgot that I had an outdated resources indicator. Is basically what they use as a license manager. And so before I went to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning, it was showing that my license was out of date. I was like, all right, well, I just kind of did it. I'll just wake up in the morning and check it before I get on the charts. Well, I did that and it was still showing outdated. So then I realized, oh, shoot, that's when I realized my license manager was out of date. Well, when that happens, you have to literally delete everything again and reinstall everything. So by the time I got done with that, it was like 9:15 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm not going to start, trading at this point, not on my evals. I don't want to start in the middle of the session. So that's why I sim traded yesterday, and there was no reason for me to do an update for a sim account. So now we're here. So as you guys can see, I ended up at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that the trade P&L, or the gross loss, was $145. You add or subtract the commissions and fees, and then you have a net P&L of negative $220. I'm not really bothered by it. That's actually not bad considering I was experimenting a lot today. And then also I risk $124 per trade. So that's not even a full like negative two trades, for me. So not too bad at all. And yeah, that's that. So I took 17 trades today. I won 6, lost 7, and then I broke even on 4. So let's get into the chart so I can show you all the trades and we go from there. So my first trade of the day was a win, just simple divergence. Was it divergence? Yeah, it was divergence from there to there, or here to here probably. Yeah, it was there to there because I don't really take into account any swings that happen before the market, so I had to be there to there. So that was the first trade. This trade right here. So this is the trade that ended up blowing the first 50K account that only had like $35 in drawdown left. However, what irritated me most about this trade is the fact that I shouldn't have blown it there, because the price when it hit my stop loss, and when it hit my stop loss, literally my take profit and stop loss disappeared. Okay. And that particular trade, I ended up losing like $175 on that account that blew. The second account, which is the one that's my leader, that one I ended up just having to manually close it out because I don't know where the stop loss and take profit went. I've never seen that happen. I could see if the first account was my leader, but it wasn't. So that shouldn't have happened. I don't know what happened. I don't. So we ended up getting a loss there. Bless you, baby. So then coming down here, this trade here was a loss. That was just a deeper pullback divergence buy because I was in an overall uptrend at the time. So then we ended up with a buy here going towards the session high, created a new session high there. Coming down, ended up with a really clean, nice win. This trade, I think this was the trade that didn't take but a couple of seconds to take profit. So I did have a couple of trades that I stayed out of because even though I was experimenting, I was like carefully experimenting kind of a little bit. So I'm going to show you why I did not take that particular trade. So with this particular trade, it was a buy. This yellow line here was a support level at the time. And so it came up, hit the support level, couldn't get past it, came back down, stopped me out by a couple of ticks, and then went straight to my take profit. So then when it kind of repeated itself here, I'm like, this time I'm just not going to get out, because what's going to happen if I get in and it does the same thing? It hits this freaking level and then comes back down. That will irritate me. So I didn't get in, and what happens? It ends up actually winning. So that was that. So then coming here, this was a loss, and there are a couple of setups that I can take like an extension, meaning the initial one lost, it pulled back a little bit, and then it went, and there was a second entry, and I can get into it. However, I have not gotten comfortable just yet with taking the extensions because I'm still trying to figure out which of my setups I want to take extensions and which ones I don't. More than likely, it's just going to be the divergence trades that I get into, where if it extends, I'll go ahead and enter it. So that would have been another win there. So this particular trade that I got stopped out of, this was actually an invalid trade, and it was because I did not realize that I was at a support and a resistance level at the same time. And had I realized that, I wouldn't have got into the trade. All right, so coming down, and we ended up with a break even there. This trade was a loss. And then going back up, this particular trade that broke even was actually an invalid trade. I manually broke even on this one, and had I not, I would have actually lost this trade because it came one tick from moving my stop loss to break even. So I'm happy that I got out of that one in time. So this is another trade that I missed. Well, not missed. I stayed out of because there was like a resistance level that turned to support here, and it was divergence off of it. So usually, like if it's certain levels of support or resistance, I will not take the trade going the opposite way. So because this was resistance that turned into support, I was like, I don't know if I should get into this one. I'll stay out of it. Well, I'm realizing that with the divergence trade, if it's the very first touch, so it just turned from resistance to support or vice versa, I can take the trade. And this would have been a really clean, nice win had I gotten into that one. All right, so the very next trade was a loss. I can remove this. Then we had a win here, hit the VWAP, tested above it a little bit and rejected. Had another win here. Coming across, this was a break-even trade there. This particular one, I could have actually stayed in and went straight to the full TP. I was kind of questioning a little bit just because I saw the seller pressure come in like shortly after getting into the trade, but I actually could have stayed in that one. Here is another break-even trade. In this particular one, I broke even purposely because we were coming off of the new session high. And then as soon as I got into the buy, the seller pressure came in immediately. So I went ahead and I got out of that particular trade. Here's the next trade that ended up losing. And then I only took one more trade, which was back here, kind of going back towards the session high. And I ended up getting a win there, and that was the last trade. So like I said, overall, not a horrible day whatsoever. I'll go ahead and switch gears so you guys can see the accounts dashboard. So as you guys can see, the first account, like I said, that one blew. I only had $35 left in it anyway. The biggest thing for me is by tomorrow, I want to feel confident going into next week, because next week is when my first $25,000 account comes in. I really only have the 50K accounts because I have the extra $1,000 in drawdown, and in the process of trying to develop my strategy, I felt like it was important just to have a little bit more drawdown. Sure, I could have had a 100K account or 150K account. I just didn't want to spend the extra money for that, knowing that, over time, I would be able to hold the 50K accounts long enough to be able to really test as much as I need to. So what I'm hoping and what my goal is to pass my first eval by the end of next week, which, if I can get everything where it needs to be, I feel confident going into it. Really, the biggest lesson that I learned this week was that, and it sounds crazy, but I cannot buy at the previous high or sell at the previous low. In my back testing, it was kind of shifty, but kind of okay. But I realized that long term it's going to be like a 50-50 thing. And anything that's a 50-50, or I'm only winning like maybe 60% of that particular setup, I'll just, hey, just throw it out, because price doesn't trade around the previous high and low and open and close often enough where like I'm not going to be missing out on anything. You know what I mean? Because this week it could work really, really well and go six wins, 0 losses, but then the following week you could win every time or lose every time it sets up. So that's really the biggest thing for this week and why I had such a horrible session on Tuesday. But you guys can see that I still have $1,500 left in drawdown on the second account. So I still have like 2 weeks left before the second account renews, because that one renews on the 5th and that's a Monday. So what I'm hoping is that I can, have it survive the next 2 weeks just in case, because that's kind of like my test account or whatever, and just kind of go from there. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning on the live stream. Don't forget that right now Apex is having an 80% off sale. It ends tomorrow by session close, and it's also a 1-day pass, which I know that combo is what a lot of people were looking for. Me personally, I'm not, but I know people were looking for that. You can use my code KeAmber to get that sale. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you guys in the morning.